add a couple of this to that. Got this bad boy. You got your rack gear, rides on the your pinion gear and your rack gear. This thing.
And what is this called?
This is a belt reduction unit. I bought it from the same manufacturer that makes the Z drive or the Z axis. This is something again that you can make yourself with your table. You can cut these plates out and reproduce it. Buy some bearings, the pulleys, but it's cheaper to buy them, man. It's just the way it is, I guess. These are spring loaded, so and all this adjustment really helps the table to not have to be dead nuts exact everything you do. You know, it really helps you to be able to build it in a shop like this or in a shed or wherever you're going to have it, because everything's got a little bit of adjustment to it and a little play, but it's still extremely accurate machine. I mean, I've cut stuff for you that's when I draw it correctly, it's right.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a learning curve.
Now to keep this pinion gear engaged on the rack, you've got this little spring, and it keeps the correct amount of tension in there, and it just hooks. Get that fucker in there. There. It just hooks there. Boom.
Sweet.
So this flexes. And now as you can see, you watch this turn. Everything's engaged. If you had a motor on here,
It would turn it.
it would drive it back and forth. So there you go.
Sweet.
That's your complete Y-axis. Your Z bolts right on there. This thing looks nice though, black with all this shiny stuff. I haven't had it, I'm not going to be able to test and tune this thing because I don't have a way to put it all together. I mean, I could build a big ass G, but I don't have the space. This is a big fucker. 12 foot and it's over 6 foot wide.
That's good. Just probably have you build another one pretty soon.
Bang.
Nice.
And this is more rigid than mine is.
Yeah.
To get it set, you could really tighten those down. And it's got a little flex, but I mean, this is never going to touch the plate. So it's just going to be riding in space with your perfect arc gap. The motor mounts here. You utilize those 4 screws, and you have this Lovejoy. Your motor shaft will go in there. You'll tighten that on there, and it'll drop right here and mate there. And then you'll have, it'll spin, moving this up and down. And like I said, when it goes to reference, it'll come down, you'll hear a click. You hear that switch click, and it'll come back up to set your pierce point.
Nice.
Torch height controller is really the only way to get really good cuts. That's just it. Unless your table is perfectly flat and the plate doesn't warp as it's cutting, you're not going to get a straight cut. Unless you'll get a straight cut. You won't get a perfect square cut without beveled edges. Because a plasma arc is shaped kind of like a football. Hypertherm has the best arc shape, but a plasma arc is shaped like this. You know, you got your nozzle, and as it's cutting, this portion of the arc is what you want cutting. If your material's here, you get a nice square edge. If your material's down here, you get a taper.
So thicker material, you're going to end up with a taper.
Now, a thicker material, you'll actually end up with a slight concave. And I found like my PowerMax 65 cuts the best edge on 3/8 and a half-inch plate. My PowerMax 45 cut the best edge on 1/4-inch plate and lower. But really changing the tips and clean, dry air. Clean, dry air. You gotta have dryers, you gotta have filters. That's really just too wimpy of a filter back there for what I'm running now. It works great for my PowerMax 45, but clean, dry air. Mostly clean. So, and then the same thing happens down here, happens up here. I didn't really draw that very accurately.
It'll start to bevel the other way.
But this arc is really shaped like that. So if you're too low, you'll get a bevel the other way. So if you have a no torch height controller and your table has a dip in it, you'll end up with a cut where the edge does this. So and then clean, dry air. That's the best thing to remedy that.
Clean, dry air.
Yep, clean, dry air.
Which means you need an air compressor with filters on it and a dryer.
Yep, dryer.
So you have clean, dry
small plasma
air.
These will work. They're like $11. You know,
yeah.
at Lowe's or whatever, they'll work. But if you have a bigger one, you're going to need a bigger one of those to handle the flow. Okay.
This is your bigger.
Yeah, that's a motor guard filter. Basically looks like a roll of toilet paper in there. And that works for filtering the air. That doesn't really work for drying the air so well. A new filter will dry the air pretty good, but it won't not for a long time. Alright, on these are the same thing as this right here, but you got a left and a right.
Okay.
They all come one way, so you got to disassemble one of them and come down.
Reverse it.
I machined these down right here because the gear rack is only a 1/4 inch wide, and that left you like a 32nd of an inch of clearance. So I machined these down where you have more clearance here. And these mount the same way as that one does, with a spring.
So you clear down their height?
Yeah, I machined them down. The one on there is bigger around.
Gotcha.
So I just machined those down a little bit. They go the same way. There's 2 holes here. The only difference is this spring, which still attaches here just like that one, it goes to this bolt.
Okay.
That'll be in this slot. So those go there, a left and a right. Your motor will mount to there. I've got your pulleys over there in the bag. That'll mount to your motor and go there. Tighten it up. And this creates a 3.2, I think 3.2 to 1 reduction, or a 3 to 1 reduction. I'd have to look that up. I can send you all the information of what I have my steps set to, so you don't have to micro step with this system with the stepper motors, because you have for 1 revolution of the motor, it makes 1/3 of a revolution. This does.
Okay.
The gear does. So that takes your resolution and brings it way down. So a stepper motor has like 2,000 steps per revolution. You're going to have 6,000 steps per revolution here at the drive. And what you'll do is when you assemble this and you set it on there, you'll loosen that screw and move this in and out where it lines up with these with the rack gear that's welded to the X rails.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it.
Good.